I overdosed on breath mints. Yes, you heard that right. These addictive candies caused me to myself. And by the end of this video, you'll find out why. So, let's get started. And in order to understand what happened, we must first look at the ingredients. And to my surprise, there's no cholera toxin or E. coli. So what gives? Unless So that wasn't the case. Typically, infectious causes take around 48 hours to maybe a week to present. So if we look at the ingredients one more time, sorbitol. I think that's our suspect. Sorbitol is a thick molecule, 2 C's, and as a result of its large molecular structure, it doesn't get absorbed very well in the small intestine, and most of it ends up in the large intestine. So you'll have a bunch of sweetener in your colon, but that doesn't really explain the diarrhea. And for this, we need to understand osmosis. So, osmosis is the passive movement of water across a semi-permeable membrane from high concentration to low concentration. This is the primary way that the body moves water. In contrast to an active process that uses energy to move molecules from a high concentration to a low concentration, water doesn't use ATP. However, it might be coupled to a process where it is an active process, such as the movement of sodium ions across a membrane, and water sometimes follows it. So if there's a solution with a high concentration on one side of the membrane and it cannot cross the other side, we call this a hyperosmotic solution. And so what happens is water wants to follow it so that it can create equilibrium. Alright, so let's get back to the mystery. We now have a bunch of sorbitol stuck in the large intestine, which means it's a semi-permeable membrane, so the sorbitol can't cross to the other side. But water can. So what this creates is a hyperosmotic solution, which means water gets pulled from the other side and create watery stools. Boom, there you have it. We now solved why breath mints cause diarrhea. In medicine, we call this osmotic diarrhea, which means that substances in the gut pull water from the body and cause you to have diarrhea. And in some cases, physicians might use sorbitol as an osmotic laxative so that you can induce diarrhea. Now, I know I took a comedic approach to diarrhea, but it's no laughing matter because in some cases, you might get very dehydrated and causes the body to lose a lot of water that way. So stay hydrated. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a hot tea to go on. So you made it to the end of the video. Thanks so much for watching. And I do have a couple of questions which I want you to answer down in the comments below. And these questions are for real lovers of science. Question number 1. This is more of a thinking type question, and all the information that I presented in the video may lead you to answer this question. So if you need help, you can also search from the internet, but try to use your brain to answer these questions. Question number 1. Explain why the body sweats. Question number 2. This is more of a thinking type question, but what might be the signs and symptoms of severe diarrhea? And I want you to comment on maybe heart rate or blood pressure, and maybe some neurologic involvement like the confusion or I'm not going to give you the answer, but I want you to comment on those things, as well as maybe skin appearance or urine output. Third question, and more of a science fair / research project, this would be cool to study. How many sugar-free candies does it take to induce diarrhea? And last question, this is a synthesis type question. And I mentioned cholera toxin at the beginning of the video. And so cholera is a special bacteria that burrows deep inside the intestinal wall and produces a toxin. Now, I want you to explain why this toxin might cause diarrhea. And so you can use the internet for this. And lastly, what is the treatment for cholera? And it's not antibiotics. This treatment actually got the Nobel Prize. So explain also how that might work in the comments down below. I'll make a video explaining the solutions. And again, as always, take chances, make mistakes, and I'll see you in the next video. And as always, take chances, make mistakes, and put the L in learning. And I'll see you next time. Bye!